Hey, good morning everyone, Thyworm here with episode 3 of this Zero to Hero SRS Guardian. I made it to level 94, I'm close to level 95 actually, and in this episode I got myself 4 Void Stones. If you're interested in Path of Exile SSF, consider subscribing. Let's dive in. I start the day with my Maven rushing tree, and along the way I make sure to get any harvest content I can while not speccing into it. I may need some yellow juice soon after all. I run a bunch of maps to simply gather all the different pieces for the Elder Guardians, Shaper Guardians, but also the Elder Slayers, the Service Conquerors if you will, as soon as I can, and I make sure Maven witnesses all of them. But this is all done on the gear of yesterday mostly, meaning I'm still on a 5-link and most of the time I'm using melee splash support instead of multi-strike for these bosses as well. I'm killing a bunch of synthesis bosses as well to get most of the Maven invitations out of the way. In between, a few things happen. I start to get the new skill gems, although you have to defeat completely overpowered mercenaries to get those. Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. I get the Putrid Cloister from a Kirak mission. I looked at my crafting bench for missing recipes and unlocked a few vital ones, such as the Chaos Elemental Resistance Hybrid one. I drop a Lair Cast, that's a 50% damage for my allies, and it goes on to my Animate Guardian. I get a 6-link from a ritual, it's a very usable one as well. A little later I have enough favor to buy it, I slam an essence on there, annul away the exact mod that I didn't want, multi-mod from the crafting bench, and then decided to double block. It's a bit of a scuffed craft, sure, but you know. I do a bit of coloring and buy Elemental Focus as my last support gem, at least for now. A little pro tip here, but remember you can use Orbs of Horizon to roll Guardian maps, and it even works with the new memory implicits. After running a bunch of Maven witnessed bosses, it's time for the actual bosses. Shaper goes down twice, I use some of the yellow juice to change the fragment, then it's time for Elder, who even drops a Watcher's Eye, but it's a bad one unfortunately. The second time he goes down as well, and Uber Elder is next. I defeat the both of them, get my 3rd Void Stone and slot it in the Atlas. The last Void Stone is with the Maven, who I fight, kill, and I can slot in the 4th Void Stone as well. From here, I primarily just start farming Searing Exarch and Ritual, as those drop a bunch of currency and many great items. A few notable drops if you will, such as this Void Battery for cheap, this pretty crazy axe, or a 6-link incubator. I reach level 94 in a breach area. Xof even gives me his blessing, which I'm sure will be useful one day. The Nameless Seer provides me with this wand, which I can imagine is good for certain builds. I decide to equip my Animate Guardian with the Legacy of Fury that drops from the Maven, scorching nearby enemies and thus reducing their fire resistance. I start shipping, as the gambling days are behind me now with my current gear. I drop a +1 minion skill wand and craft the trigger on it, which is another decent upgrade, and the rest of the video will be in my hideout. So guys, rather than going over every single piece once more, I will just share you the PUB and you can see some of the upgrades. I would just show you some gameplay, like how the build currently plays. So you can see the modifiers over here as well of the map itself, so you can draw your own conclusions for that. I'm still showing quite a little bit of loot. I am currently working on my loot filter to get most of that resolved. But yeah, you see here the Dying Breath staff, right? I'm trying to corrupt those actually. So I'm keeping them on the filter. I'm using a bunch of Val Orbs, trying to corrupt them so that hopefully I get a nice corruption for my Animate Guardian. We're running these rituals because I think ritual is just one of the most fun and best mechanics in Self-Found. I've read some of the comments on my Atlas starter trees, and while there is of course some merit in taking all the standard stuff such as, you know, harvest and expedition and whatnot, I personally think that ritual is grossly underrated, especially for Self-Found. And the amount of gear and progress and other stuff that I get from doing ritual, plus of course the corpses, right? Don't forget the corpses if you're playing this build. Plus just like bubblegum currency, all sorts of progression gear that is otherwise completely League specific. I think ritual is completely underrated, and especially in SSF, worth doing. You're really not touching these mercenaries at this point because these guys just one-shot you. There's really no way about it. GGG made a post, I think it was yesterday maybe, or maybe today in like New Zealand land, where they also said like, hey guys, we're aware that these rogues are completely broken in especially the end game, the tier 16 maps and whatnot. So they're gonna be nerfing those. Don't worry though, it will not impact your character. It will only impact them as you fight them. So they're gonna be as powerful as they are today. Just hopefully you can actually defeat them. Because right now, if I click that chick and do whatever, really, she's just gonna one-shot me. And there's nothing you can do about it. You can't react, you can't respond. It's completely off the charts, their damage. So that is what you're looking at. But talking about the build itself and just the damage, which I think is kind of important, right? You can tell, I think at least, that clear is just overall pretty decent. There's no issues at all with running a map like this. And it's a pretty juiced map, right? Bunch of scarabs. I've got the Searing Exarch, a bunch of these altars and whatnot. We can do a quick abyss, maybe get lucky with a ghastly eye jewel. I think this is a good opportunity to also show you a bit of the boss damage. And of course, if I would put in multi-strike here instead of splash, the individual boss damage is a bit higher, but then all of the different adds that would spawn also take a bit longer to kill. So I think all in all, it doesn't matter too much whether you do this boss with multi-strike or melee splash, to be honest. I think it's kind of the same. You're about to see Culling Strike. See, there we go. So we did Culling Strike. We didn't get much, honestly. Let's go into the boss room. Because we still need to kill this boss to get the final ritual. There we go. Yeah, you get an originator memory map, which is quite nice, I think. Also, those can drop on anything. So now I got a Baron map and a originator map in one. And this is another DDoS attack. It really kind of sucks that this is ongoing. You don't lose your instance anymore most of the time, so at least GGG was able to fix that. But yeah, this is apparently just a constant barrage of DDoS attacks. I will probably slow down a little bit with the updates, at least on the updates on this character, because progression is more slow. So there's really not that much news, most likely tomorrow or tomorrow morning then most likely. So maybe the next update will be in a day or two, but thank you so much for watching. Thanks for making it to the end. Love you all. See you soon. Bye bye.